guys, welcome back to Off the Water. I'm your host, Darth Yacker. We've got a lot of things going on tonight. It's been a few weeks since we last saw you. It was right before Minimalist Challenge after the holidays, and we've just had a great time since then. Minimalist was a lot of fun. We've got some changes coming to Off the Water. Notably, we'll be in the new studio next episode. Fingers crossed. We've been having this thing built. It's been costing us quite a bit of money, but it's all going to be worth it in the end with the new studio coming in for Off the Water. This house was being specifically built for this show, so I'm sure my wife will appreciate that. But that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. We've got some changes coming here that we're going to talk about tonight. Some changes in personnel with Ben Day joining the group and Tyler going to be taking on some additional responsibilities within the club. And obviously he's got baby Tyler on the way. So that's going to be keeping his hands full in the future. Tonight we also got joining us Dean Turner, One Minimalist Challenge. We're going to be touching base with Dean here soon. I want to hear all about how he managed to pull out miraculous victory fishing with probably 134 of the best kayak fishermen in this state, and guys coming in from Florida, Mississippi, Alabama to fish this tournament. It was a real difficult tournament. We had some real interesting challenges. But Dean managed to come out with a really nice stringer and take out some really good guys on that. Before we get started, start with a little bit of sad news recently. One of our officers, Eric Stacy, his mother recently passed away this past week, Kay Stacy. We wanted to acknowledge her on here. I never had the opportunity to meet her, but I know Eric, and Eric's a great guy. And if you haven't met Eric yet, you need to. He's going to be the guy on Palooza and Falling Tide up there on Friday night. He's one of the Little Rascals. He makes all the food there Friday night with the help of some of the other guys. And I know it's been a very difficult time for Eric and his family. And Eric, we wanted to let you know that we were thinking about you the entire time. Certainly, some of us obviously can't understand what you're going through, but we were thinking about you, and we wanted to acknowledge that on the show tonight. And talking to you, I understand your mom was very involved with her church, and from what you tell me, she was a really good lady, and she raised a great son, so she must have been. So our prayers to you, Eric, and your family during this difficult time. We had something similar happen with the club last year, the year before, I think it was Tyler, when our club president, Aaron LaRose, lost his mother about a year or two ago, and I know he went through a similar difficult time. So the point of the story being, look, guys, if you haven't called your mom lately, give her a call. Tell her you love her. There one day and gone the next. So every chance I get, I tell my mom I love her. There's nothing to be ashamed of in doing that. The other reason we're here, and above everything else, family first. And Eric and Aaron, we wish you guys the best. And I know it's difficult, but we're all family here. It's like we say, we're not blood, but we're family. So you guys ever need anything, y'all let us know. So I'm getting a little teary-eyed, so I'm going to hop on to other things now, something a little bit more happy. So look, we've got some changes coming. Tyler Caldwell has been instrumental in getting this podcast off the ground. I have no technical skills really whatsoever when it comes to computer stuff. I have a Facebook account, and I can log onto the internet with the push of a button now, I guess. If it wasn't for Tyler, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have this program. And Tyler's got some things coming up in his life with a new baby, Caldwell, on the way. He's got other responsibilities in the club we'll talk about in a little bit. And Tyler, I really wanted to thank you for everything you've done for the club and for this. It was kind of a little dream we had together, and you made it come to life. And it's really cool to be able to go back and look at the YouTube videos and everything. And I hope you will come back from time to time.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's really surprising how, I don't know what episode we're on now, but heck, it's been a year that we've been doing this now. The time has flown by.
It has been. It's been really, really fast. I know you were actually looking forward to coming on tonight and being a spectator, but we dragged you back for one more episode, although you're not working the technical aspect of it. We've got Mr. Ben Day in the background sitting there reporting live from Leeville, Louisiana. You appear to be at the public launch.
Yeah, it's a great place to hang out.
It does. It looks even like it's a little foggy in the background back there.
Elusive.
Been doing a little fishing out there, Ben?
Yeah, all the time.
So, Tyler, I understand that you now have kind of given over your responsibilities on Off the Water to Ben as far as the technical stuff, but you're going to be doing a little writing. Tell us about that.
We had Chris from Martian Bayou Magazine had reached out and showed some interest in getting involved with the club and wanting to bring back kayak section to his Martian Bayou Magazine. So Sean and I kind of volunteered to write the first article there for this month's magazine. This month it just came out, so it just recently hit the shelves. There was a little write-up about Minimalist Challenge in January. Me and Sean kind of, I guess we had a pretty tight timeline to get that done, so we teamed up on
3 days.
Yeah, and so we knocked it out real quick. And but in the future, it's going to be a little me and him, and hopefully some other guys from the club will be contributing, and we'll just kind of be trying to help organize that and organize who's going to be writing each month. So it should be fun. It'll be real good exposure for the club.
Yeah, and certainly if you guys haven't picked up this month's issue, it just came out. Here in New Orleans, I know that Publius has it. I think Chags has it. I'm going to get you guys a list and we'll post it online. We're also trying to arrange for it to be set up somewhere in Lafayette and in Baton Rouge at maybe some of the kayak places over there, Backpack or Pack and Paddle if we can, for easy access for you guys. But we are really going to focus on kayak fishing. It'll be focused on Louisiana, but we're also going to have some articles, I think, about other places. I know we were looking at maybe doing one about offshore fishing out of Florida. We were talking about a summer issue. We want to try to get in an article about Los Buzos in Panama for you guys that have probably seen it on the internet, but the one of the guides over there hooked into a 500-pound marlin, towed him 17 miles out to sea. It's all over the internet. If you haven't seen the video, you got to do it.
The video is incredible.
Yeah, it's got some really incredible GoPro footage. We're going to try to get some guys on here to talk about it a little bit. But no, we've got a nice little write-up about Minimalist Challenge. We talk about the baits that we use, and they've got some good pictures in there about the baits. If you place in that tournament, your name's mentioned there. We got some good quotes in there from our own Dean Turner tonight, Brett Fotard, and I think Brock was able to talk to. We've got some other good pictures from the tournament itself. So really what Martian Bayou has done has given us basically, as the club, basically free access to write what we want to write about in regards to kayak fishing. And it's really a great opportunity. It's just another forum that we can use to get our word out, to talk about fishing. I think next month we're looking at talking about Trout Challenge somewhat, specifically the transition period coming for trout, coming from the wintertime into spring. And we're going to kind of focus on that. I'm hoping to get some interviews with a couple of the trout gurus we have in the club to maybe come on and do some talking about that. So, and talk a little bit about the areas that are going to be fishing for Trout Challenge, that being based on the Golden Meadow. But we couldn't be more excited about this opportunity, with the forum, Facebook, the podcast, and now the written word, on Martian Bayou. So it's really exciting how big this club is growing in the last few years. In fact, we've just nominated and set up a committee for, I think, Tyler, we've got a media guy now. I think we've got a
public relations. Yeah.
We've got a public relations guru. I know him only as Big John. Thompson, is it Thompson?
I think everybody knows him as Big John because
Big John.
Even when he registers for our tournament, usually his first name is Big and his last name is John.
Yes. You can't miss him in the tournament. He's a mountain of a man. He is tender as a teddy bear, though. So you'll love him when you see him. He's just an all-around good guy. He's one of my favorite people in the world. So Big John is kind of been put in charge of the public relations for the club. I mean, who would have thought we would have had a public relations guy a few years ago? And I keep saying I got to get Todd Lewis on here to talk a little bit more about the club, and maybe even get Tommy Eubanks to come in here, some of these old timers to come in. Not calling you an old timer, Todd, just only with respect to how long you've been with the club. But to get some of these guys to come in, because it's an interesting tale. But we got a lot of stuff to cover today. First, I want to thank Ben Day for coming on board. I know this is a lot of work, a lot of responsibility, and Ben is been working on this for the last few days. And knock on wood, he got us up and running, and first time, and with Tyler's help, of course. But this is kind of awesome. We haven't had any problems yet. So knock on wood. Hopefully it'll all go well tonight. Ben, I know we had you on before.
Yeah.
With your amazing story about how you took second place at Redfish Rumble last year, qualified for the championship, and you also took Big Red, but your wife wouldn't let you into the Big Red category, and we all had a good laugh about it.
Yeah, I'm infamous. Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself. So, because you're going to be more involved in the club going forward, I know, and it's always good for people to know a little bit about you, about your background and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure thing. I grew up in East Baton Rouge Parish. I've lived here a long time. I went to Northwestern State for about a year, and then I got out. I decided to join the Louisiana National Guard, and I was in the National Guard for 7 years. I did one deployment to Afghanistan, and I got shot in the knee. And then they put me in an office for a few years, and then I got out in 2015, and now I got into kayak fishing because I needed to get more exercise and lose some weight, which I succeeded in. So it's been a fun journey, and I love being outside and just fishing and learning stuff new. So if you ever see me out there, don't hesitate to come up and introduce yourself. I'm always looking to meet new people to fish with.
Yeah. Now, you say you got shot in the knee. I think that's a little bit of an understatement. I actually saw the video with 2 rocket-propelled grenades launching into your armored vehicle and kind of blowing your knee off and stuff. I mean, you were in the hospital a while from that, right?
Yeah, I did route clearance in eastern Afghanistan, and a rocket. They put a fake IED. We found IEDs. And they shot 2 rockets into my vehicle, and I was very fortunate. But I received minor injuries, I suppose. I broke my tibia plateau, tore my ACL, MCL, meniscus. I had 2 knee surgeries, and I was in physical therapy for about 18 months. So it could have been worse.
No, I mean we it didn't hit the face, which is important.
Yes. Yeah.
You wouldn't want to mess the face, but all kidding aside, man, again, I told you this before, thank you very much for your service. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now, interesting story with you. You obviously, you got a Purple Heart.
Yes.
For your service and being injured in combat. And you tell me that one of your relatives has fought in like every American war since the beginning and has received a Purple Heart because they've been injured, but none of them have died.
Yes, I've been pretty lucky. My grandpa got one in World War II, and I had another grandpa get one in World War I. So, yeah, it's been interesting. I think the only one Vietnam. Maybe I don't think anybody was in Vietnam.
Yeah, but like Lieutenant Dan, all of his relatives died in combat. Yours were fortunate enough to get through. I mean, that's amazing. So, kudos to you and your family for standing up and doing that.
Appreciate it.
Glad you survived.
Yeah, me too.
You become a pretty good friend the last couple of months since we started talking and meeting and got to fish together and enjoy your company. And for people that know, it's a strange coincidence here. So Tyler and Ben are both their wives are both expecting. I think baby Day and baby Caldwell are going to be June, first week of June.
Yeah, 1 week apart, I think.
1 week apart. Yeah, and they both raise chickens. It's the craziest thing. They both raise chickens. Now, Tyler's out in the country. It makes sense. Ben's actually local. He's in Metairie, kind of bordering Kenner. And he's got these genetically altered mutant chickens that are the size of turkeys. I was at his house Sunday, and I've never seen chickens this big. They're literally this big around. Their feet are like completely webbed, like these chickens can swim. They were just laying egg after egg. I mean, they were. So while we were there, the chickens were just laying eggs. And I think Dan was there, and Dan kept going and harvesting all the eggs while we were there and throwing them in the pot with the crawfish. I don't understand, but you
can't control Dan. He's like.
These you got your chickens where from France?
Oh, so I ordered them online. There's a website called like My Backyard Chicken, and they you just pick, there's 60 different breeds, and you just pick the chickens out, and they mail them to your house. They said the U.S. Postal Service has been delivering chickens for 100 years. Who would have known?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, so your one chicken was from France, and what was the other one?
I have France, China, South America, and India. I have Brahmas from India. They get pretty
I'm telling
big.
you, these things look like they were from Chernobyl. I mean, there's no way these are normal chickens. I mean, these things are massive. But anyway, I had a lot of fun meeting his chickens. I understand that Dan got kind of close to one later in the night after I left.
He was just walking around with a chicken under his arm, eating crawfish.
You know, it's like my mom always said, Dan will do what Dan will do, you know. So, well, look, we had a tournament last month in January, and it's one of our more popular tournaments, the Minimalist Challenge tournament, and we sold out in record time in 4 days, 135 spots in 4 days, and I think that may have been the fastest we've ever sold out, and it was a lot of fun.
Epic.
We planned it well, and with the kind of the club growing more as we put more focus on the Facebooks and the Instagrams and all that stuff. You know, we're getting a lot more people involved and seeing what this club is about. And so we extended an invitation to everybody and said, look, come out Friday night. We're going to try to cook. And we've had that before. We usually do that every year. We get maybe 10, maybe 15 people out there. I counted 65 people at Topwater Marina Friday night. Now, clearly, Topwater didn't sleep 65 people. We had rented out all the cabins. We took all the cabins there, but people were staying close by at other places. So we had 65 people, roughly, at Topwater, getting ready for Minimalist Challenge, and we had a blast. I think Ben's got some good slides there.
Yeah, I'm going to show some slides, and we can keep talking about it.
Yeah. So I know I got running about 15 pounds of boudin from Billy's over in Scott. Then Eric Stacy had made, I think, 30 pounds of pulled pork. Boston Buddy had been cooking all day. We had the Korean ribs, I think, were made. We had some flank steak. We had some deer sausage. I mean, we had a couple of different types of king cake. I didn't, unfortunately, get to try any because it all got eaten. We had no food left, though. We went through all of this food. It was crazy good. I think everybody had a really good time. The people over at Topwater, they opened the entertainment area for us. It was a lot of fun. They really, really accommodate us well when we come over there. They go all out, and really open the whole place up to us. And it made for a great time. We get an early start in the morning. We're handing out baits at 5 in the morning. So we had to get up there early, wake up early. It was just nice to be there right on the spot, literally 2 minutes from the launch. So the morning of the tournament, the weather, I think for January, we couldn't have picked a better day for the tournament. I think the winds were kind of low. It was warm enough. It wasn't cold. I think the water was a little low. That was probably the big issue. If I had one issue, it would have been the low water and the finicky redfish. But other than that, I thought it was a really good day.
It was crazy clear, like ridiculously clear.
Mm-hmm. The bait selection. So Brendan Bayard picked out the baits this year. Danny Wentz over at Pure Fishing basically gave us the catalog and said, here, go pick out the baits. So Brendan went through it. I know he had a field day with it. He just went through the catalog, started picking out the baits. We had some phenomenal baits. I think I fished with the Uncle Rico mostly. I love that bait. It was really good. I heard some other people use the juke. I mean, I literally talked to people. Everybody caught fish, I think, on every bait that was handed out. I don't know, Dan, if you had a particular bait that you enjoyed using that day?
I used that curly tail like 90% of the day. I just felt so comfortable with it, and I don't know. I thought I would catch more fish with it, but I was wrong.
Yeah. It was an interesting day. The redfish had been on fire there the last few days, and I talked to a guy. He said he caught 15 redfish the day before Minimalist, and then on that Saturday, they didn't want anything. I mean, at least for me, I was in spots, and I talked to other people and said we were just putting the baits on top of their nose, they wouldn't touch it.
So finicky. It was like they were just scared to death of them sometimes.
Yes.
This nice, slow, easy presentation in front of them, and they all just scattered.
Yeah. The trout bite. I mean, there was trout. I didn't find them stacked up. I'd catch one or two here and there. I ended up with 5 keepers and 1 redfish, which is probably my worst finish at Minimalist. But they had some people that did really well. I know we got Dean here. He had a monster bag with a lot of trout and some redfish. So, Dean, you probably had at least your 2 reds and your 10 trout, didn't you?
I had 4 reds.
4. Okay, but you weighed in 2.
I weighed 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
I weighed the limit. I had like
Right.
15 trout.
Yeah, and 15 trout. So you caught 4 reds and 15 trout.
Yeah.
So that was an awesome day. I know we got some good footage, Ben. I'm sure you probably showed it already with the drone footage.
Yeah, I'm about to show that right now.
I know you're not going to give us any areas, but tell us what you saw, what you were looking for, and kind of how your day went.
Well, so first off, Leeville's my first place I ever fished saltwater, so I love it. That's my favorite spot to fish. So I had a little plan in action because I was able to fish the championship last year, so which was out of topwater, and so I had some areas where I'd caught a whole bunch of rat reds, so I was like, I'm gonna go there. Hopefully they grew up a little bit. I'll get some reds, and that's where I ended up catching all my trout at. Actually, it was that spot, and it was like one after another, and they were sort of like in the middle of the canal. There's a little canal going down, so it wasn't off banks or anything. It was sort of at the bottom of the canal, and that's where I got them. And I have one of my favorite spots that I always go. If you don't catch a redfish in there, just go home, pack up, go home, basically. So, and I ended up catching, and they're not really usually big fish in there, but I ended up getting, I caught my first ever bull red, which was a little over 28 inches. So I was like, oh, it's going to be a good day.
That was your first time catching a bull red?
First time ever.
Wow.
Okay.
And actually, the spot where I caught that bull red was the first spot I ever caught a redfish, which was for Minimalist last year. So, yeah.
How many Minimalists have you fished?
2. This was my second.
Your second Minimalist.
That's incredible.
I've only been saltwater fishing since probably November of 2018.
Man, you're like the Terry Pham of Minimalist, huh?
That's awesome.
Yeah. And last year I placed 19th, so that's what qualified me for the championship.
That's our most difficult tournament of the year, and a place.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if you can place in the top 20 at Minimalist, that's a really big accomplishment. And to place in the top 20 your first year,
Yeah.
place in that is incredible.
Right. Well, I grew up bass fishing, so to me, red fishing really isn't much different. There is a little difference, but not a whole bunch of difference, because I'm not really good still yet at sight fishing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's mainly blind casting, sort of same spots you would look for like a bass when you're bass fishing. So that's how I do it.
Nothing wrong with blind casting.
So, use my spinner reel, gotta love it. I get hounded about it with plankton and all them, but I was like, my favorite ones. I always pull them out.
And for those guys that don't know, we're going to talk a little bit later, but Dean and I and a couple other guys are actually going to fish Lake Fork here in a couple weeks. Tyler too, for the Hobie Bass Open, and there's a big debate right now between bait casters and spinning reels. And
Spinning reels all the way.
Yeah, we've got a pretty strong disagreement over, the bait casting guys, who are doing this, and the spinning reel guys who are, casting and catching. So, but anyway, so the baits that you got when you first see them, a lot of times, people go into the tournament and they're real excited, and then they get the bag of baits, and the first thing you see is like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I mean, this is horrible. What did you think when you first saw the bag that you were going to get this year?
When I got the bag, I thought, I'm not sure the name of it, but it was the white one with the purple strip on the top.
That's the Uncle Rico.
That's the Uncle Rico. So that was like, oh, that's my bait, And then, so I hooked that on my favorite rod, and then I hooked up a couple other ones. I'm not real good with the hard baits,
Yeah.
But I hooked it up. I was like, I'm gonna try it first, in the morning. Not really sure how to use that bait. So I made a phone call and said, how do you use this thing? Because I don't know how to use it. So I didn't throw that one very much, but then I hooked up that the silver one?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that'll be my second choice, And then the big blue one, sort of like, I hooked it up like
a big swim bait.
Yeah, that thing was huge.
It was huge.
That was, and so I hooked that, so I had them 4 up, and I caught a little trout on the what was the first one?
The Uncle Rico?
Uncle Rico. So I caught a little trout on that one, starting off, and then had a fish come and grab it and ripped it off. And I'm like, crap, there goes my trout,
So you lost Uncle Rico early.
I lost it like real early.
Yeah.
So I was like, crap, there goes my trout, And then I started throwing the silver one, and they were hitting them, boom, boom, boom. And then I caught trout. I probably caught 85% of all my fish on that bait.
Really?
The big soft bait I caught a redfish on, but all the other ones, I caught on that, and that was a tough bait. I ended up having to cut the tip off because it was tore up so much and shrunk it down a little bit.
Now, did you find your fish in shallow water, or were you mostly deep?
The redfish I found in shallow.
Okay, yeah.
The trout were probably around 6 to 8 feet deep. Water.
Really?
More towards the bottom.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm a lazy fisherman, so most of the time it's on the bottom anyway. So So, but yeah, and there was a couple of times I was sort of scared because I didn't hook it up weedless, and I got caught a couple of times. I'm like, don't lose this bait, do it. And so I paddled right up to it, get my hand in the water to get it unhooked.
That's the great thing about being in a kayak is you literally can come right up on that bait. And a lot of times I find if you just can pass over that lure and pull it from a different angle, you can get it out. And especially on Minimalist, when you've got your 5 baits and you really don't want to lose even one of them because you don't know. I mean, that could be the bait that's hitting that bait. As far as the water clarity, you found it pretty good overall?
Yeah, it was real clear. And I tried sight fishing, and I did see one spot I went to was a place I fished for the championship, and saw a lot of redfish in there. They just weren't biting. And so I got as far back as I could go with the water being so low, and the wind just let the wind drift me back, and I was standing sight fishing, and they weren't, they would see it right by their face, and they weren't biting it. And once I got more towards the opening of it is where I caught them on the bank line.
Yeah. No, it was an interesting day. The only redfish, I caught 3. One was he was 16 and caught him real early, and I said, oh man, the redfishing's just been awesome. I'm going to put him back because I'm definitely going to upgrade today. And that was just a mistake. The second redfish I caught was the biggest redfish I ever caught. So, and I heard that from a lot of people. There were a lot of bulls getting caught. I was fishing actually next to Josh Thompson, and I was in a trout area, and I'm throwing my little Uncle Rico, and it was exactly where I thought the trout were going to be, and he whammed it. And I said, oh man, this is a nice trout. And then I thought that for about 2 seconds, and then it started zinging, and I was like, this is not a trout, and it pulled me off in the middle of the bayou, and it was I don't know how big it was because I got them in the kayak. It took us about 30 minutes to get them in, and I had my boga grips on me, and they like tap out at 30 pounds, and I put them on there, and it tapped out at 30 pounds. So I put him back in at that point, but he was easily the biggest redfish I ever caught, you know. And I heard a lot of people had caught bull reds that day. And
I actually caught two.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I know people enjoy catching bull reds, but on a tournament day,
Yeah.
with minimalist, you just like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this right now. I've got one bait in this one color, and if I lose it, I was more worried about losing that bait than I was landing the fish. The whole time I'm thinking, just spin it, don't get out of here, you know. And the one redfish I did catch, I caught was sight fishing in a canal where the water was real low, probably a foot, clear visibility. He was just sitting there in the middle of the canal and just hanging out. And I had to throw to him about 6 or 7 times before he finally actually took the bait. So you know, it was a tough day for me. But guys like you, I think I was just looking at you finished with 26.54 pounds, and that's with 2 reds and 10 trout.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. That would have taken probably first place at the championship without considering the Pham brothers and their 27-pound trout stringers. That was just an incredible trout stringer they both had. I mean, they were 36 pounds a piece for the championship, but 26.5 pounds is an awesome stringer for minimalist. You know, I know you narrowly edged out second place Steve Lassard, and you were close to the end, weren't you, as far as weigh-in?
Yeah.
So he was sitting there in first place for a while, I think.
Well, he was actually like five people ahead of me.
Yeah. So he was sitting there thinking, there's no way. I'm in 26.21 pounds. There's no way somebody's catching me with, towards the end of the line. And then you end up coming in and taking it, which is just awesome. And that was 26.5 pounds is awesome.
And I actually caught the last red I caught was, I set my timer to give me enough time to go back on my phone to get back to the landing, give me about 10, 15 minutes to get back to,
Mm-hmm.
And as I was reeling it in, got it to my boat, my alarm goes off, so I'm like, crap. And once I measured it, saw it was good enough, I started heading back to the landing, and I pulled my bag and was putting it in the bag as I was paddling back to the landing.
Yeah.
So that's what put me over the edge.
That's incredible.
Like
So, you understand got into kayak fishing, fishing with Clayton.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. So I just drew this up while we were talking. So I'm going to put it on the camera here. So I want to show you guys that this is the family tree I created. You can see there's Brendan Bayard at the top. Okay, and so Brendan's at the top of it, and then you got one of the family trees is Clayton Schilling, and so then Clayton was a disciple of Brendan, and then under that you've got Dean Turner, and so Dean was a disciple of Clayton. And what's interesting is all 3 of these guys have won Minimalist Challenge now. So that's pretty incredible. Now down there at the bottom, you see where the root's at? That's me. So I think Brendan, what he does is he tries to tell me. I think he gives me advice. I'm not sure if it's accurate or not. So I don't quite know if I'm part of the family tree or just maybe part of the root system that he kind of leans on for support when he's like, hey Sean, how's the fishing doing? I know you talk to people, and I'm stupid enough to tell them, but
Yeah, the funny thing is, I've known Clayton for a long, long time, and I knew when he started fishing, kayak fishing, I'm like, dude, you're crazy going out there, you know. And then Derek Douglas started getting involved with it, and me and him were friends. So he was actually the first person I went out with was Derek.
Yeah.
Out of top water and didn't catch. I caught one baby, barely long enough trout. That was all day long. Is the only thing I caught. But
it's
loved
feast
it.
or famine in Leeville.
Sounds like my day at Minimalist Challenge.
But I loved it, and I was hooked from that point. That one little trout I caught, I was hooked, and I just started picking Clayton's brain, trying to figure out, go over to his house so he could tie my lines and everything for me. Because I didn't know. Like I said, it was bass fishing. I didn't know anything about salt fishing, and I had bass fished. I've been in Louisiana for 25 years, so it's been 25 years since I bass fished. And not having anything. I think I borrowed, like Minimalist Challenge last year. I was in Derek's boat, and then another fish before I even got my kayak in another tournament, I was in Clayton's boat because he couldn't fish the tournament. So then I finally get my own boat and everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that I tell people kayak fishing, if you do it and you could just completely fall in love with it, or you may just be like, it's not for me. But I think it's one or the other. You either
Right.
love it or it's just, it's not for you. But when you love it, it's really, you think about it all the time. I really enjoy exploring different areas. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So I noticed you are a Lord of the Rings fan.
No, my wife is.
I was disappointed. I love Lord of the Rings. But
I mean, I've watched them all about 100 times, but this is my wife's little room.
this is your wife's room. Okay, it's typical. The wife gets the room, and like Tyler and Ben get the chicken coops in the backyard.
Right.
So
Hey, Metairie is like French for farm, I believe.
I think the only thing in my house is my closet. I get called, you need to clean your closet, but everything else is hers.
She doesn't go in my closet. She just leaves me be with my closet right now as we're sitting there, today. Ben, why don't you tell us, kind of give us a rundown. So this was our first tournament, of the championship series, and if you are a member of the club and you finish in the top 20 of this particular tournament, you'll qualify for the championship at the end of the year as long as you participate, meaning pay for one other tournament in the series.
Correct.
This is being sponsored. The championship series this year is being sponsored by Pack and Paddle and Native Watercraft. And in addition to the cash prizes we're giving away at the end of the year, the first place winner at the championship is going to win. What are they going to win again, Tyler?
Brand new Native Slayer Propel Max 12.5 foot.
That sounds awesome. Now, I understand you've been test running that particular first place prize. Is that correct? You've been putting it through the paces, making sure it all looks good?
Not yet. I have one on the order, though. I'm ready to get it.
When's it coming in?
Supposed to be, they said the earliest be the end of this month.
Okay. Well, we'll be here in time for Trout Challenge, hopefully.
I wish to be here for Lake Forest.
Yeah, I know. So Ben, tell us, fill us in on the top 20. Who finished in the top 20? Maybe starting at 20th place. That's going to qualify for the championship this year. I know I'm not in there. So
all right. So it looks like you got Dean Turner obviously first, and then Steve Lazard was second. Wendell Diaz was third. Then Brendan Bayard was fourth. And Brett Cotard was fifth. Then Matt Carr. Then Brock Miller. Joshua Reed. Red. Aaron Clay. Let's see. Shane. Curol.
That's Baby Shane. You'll get used to the names. Just call him Baby Shane. Everybody know who he is.
Brandon Barton was next.
Florida boy.
Cody Drago.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Miller. Matthew Van. Danny Campagno. Spec Hunter. Francis Tran. Jonathan Vanoy.
Squints.
And Tyler Drude.
Tyler hadn't fished all last year. He comes in and he busts in with a top 20 finish.
Edward Hornsby.
Yeah, that's everything kayak.
And last but not least, in the top 20, Clayton Schilling.
Clayton coming in. All three of you from the Bayard family tree all qualified. See, if you're in the tree, you're going to qualify at Minimalist. If you're part of the root system, you're out of luck there.
Those guys right there are sitting pretty for 2020.
Oh, look, and I'll tell you what, when you look at the names of the people who entered that did not finish the top 20, you're like, wow, they didn't make it. It's a hard tournament. It really is, because it brings out the best. All the best anglers want to come and fish this tournament because the competition's there and it's so complicated. It's kind of such a unique format, being that it's a shotgun launch, so no one gets to fish from these secret launches, roadside launches. Everybody's got the same baits. Everybody has to leave at the same time and get back at the same time. So, it puts everybody really on a level playing field there. So I've noticed
how about Matthew Van and Brandon Barton driving over? This is the third year in a row they drove over from Florida. Both fished Minimalist Challenge and both qualified for the championship.
They do it every year.
I know.
They do it every year. I can't figure it out for the life of me, how they can fish Leeville once a year, and yet I don't know if they're the Bayard family tree or not.
It was tough. I struggled. It was tough.
Yeah. So I saw that the big redfish Calcutta was Danny Compagno. He had, it was a solid redfish. It was an 8.66 pound slot redfish. That's, the redfish in Leeville this year have been the biggest slots I have seen in a while as far as the heaviest weight. Usually when you see weights like that, you're down in Basons. The redfish in Leeville tend to be a little bit skinnier for some reason. But since really the championship, right before the championship through Minimalist, I have found the redfish in Leeville has been the best it's been in probably 4 or 5 years, that I've been fishing down there. I don't know why that is, but it's certainly kind of an interesting. I don't know if you guys had any similar observations or not. Yeah. Lastly, Steve Lassard had the leopard redfish Calcutta, 19 spots. That's a lot of spots on a redfish. And again, we wanted to thank our sponsors for that, which was Pure Fishing and Berkeley Baits, as well as Death Grip Jig Heads. We had some nice Death Grip Jig Heads in there, and those all came into to a lot of good use for that tournament. We also had some door prizes. Leeville Restaurant and Bayou Rat Grill Service had donated some gift cards. This meal was catered afterwards. I think we had some pasta from Leeville Seafood Restaurant, and we actually finished all the pasta again this year. I mean, as much food as we ate Friday night, and then we cleared. There was no pasta left.
It was so good.
Yeah, we had 4 trays of that stuff, I think, and we ate it all. So that was really incredible. It was a good time. Everybody, and you'll hear the guys that skunk or don't do well or fish hard, and they all say the same thing. I hate this tournament. I hate Leeville. I'm never fishing it again. And come January, everybody's like, oh man, this is coming up. I got to register soon because if I don't register, I'm going to miss out. It's going to sell out again, It's one of those things that I think now we've got this kind of, this thing set where we do the little party beforehand at the Friday night over at Topwater. I mean, that's going to be a tradition now. That was just a great time.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Meeting. Yeah, we had a club meeting too over there. We had, a lot of participation. Got to talk about the championship and the Hobie World Qualifier. For you guys that don't know, I can't believe it yet, but we will be hosting a Hobie World Qualifier in October at Falling Tide. More details on that to follow. Actually, Tyler's got a banner set up on the club website. You can go to bayoucoast.com or bckfc.org. If you see the Falling Tide banner, click on it. You can enter your email address, and you will receive updates as more information becomes available. It's one of the things we want to do. We expect a lot of people coming in from out of town. I talked to some people recently when I was out of town fishing a bass tournament, and they are really excited about coming down and fishing Louisiana. So, kind of moving on now. We've got what's next on the docket there. I know Ben's got it all kind of set up in his way.
Next is your trip to the Hobie Bass Open Series in Lake Seminole, Georgia.
Lake Seminole. So I got to go fish the Hobie Bass Open down in Lake Seminole, Georgia. If you don't know where it's at, figure take I-10 just past the Panama City Beach exit. A little bit past that, you're going to hang a left, and you're going to go to Georgia for about an hour. Probably about 2 hours from Panama City, if I had to guess. It's right along the Florida-Georgia border of the Panhandle, and actually the Lake Seminole. Part of it's in Florida waters, part of it's in Georgia waters. I got to go up there with Jonathan Carter, who's a great fisherman in his own right. We stayed with Ian Gillespie, and so it was us three at the cabin, and I think Chuck Bahan also came down there, but Chuck decided he was going to fish out of the stay in a campground and stay in a tent, the outdoor life. So, we had a great time. The fishing was tough. I'll be honest. I'm not a bass fisherman. I don't know much about bass fishing. It's a whole learning experience for me. Even rigging the baits is a little bit challenging for me. And this was finesse fishing, I think, is at the end of the day is what kind of carried it, which is, from what I understand, fishing real slow and deep and targeting those bigger bass. They had some incredible stringers brought in, though. Met a lot of great people out there. AJ McWhirter hosted the tournament. I think Kevin Okada was out there with Hobie, and we had this entire lake to fish. The water was gorgeous. I mean, some places, I'm not kidding, I'm looking straight down 5 foot, crystal clear on the bottom. You can see. The place looks like a bass haven. I mean, there's just these acres of stumps, just all these stumps coming out that looks just incredible to fish. There was tree cover, there was grass lines, there was deep water, there was shallow water, there was everything I guess you could ask for except for the fish.
The lake's huge.
The lake's huge. The lake was huge. It was a beautiful area. We stayed at this, I forget the name of the place we stayed at, but it's right next to Big Jim's. If you're looking for a place to stay, they got Big Jim's restaurant and a little diner that you can have breakfast at in the morning. And the people were great over there. They were a lot of fun. We get up there, and me and Jonathan go have breakfast in the morning. The guy that kind of owns or runs the place, he's back there cooking breakfast every morning for everybody. He's like, "What you boys doing? Come on in. We're going to fix y'all some eggs and some hash browns." And I was like, "Well, today I kind of like the French toast." He's like, "French toast, huh? Well, it's on the menu. Okay, we'll make it work." I was like, no, we're going to. So he goes, "I'm telling you, these were some of the best French toast I ever had. It was incredible." I'm talking about the food now, It was funny, though. We ate at Big Jim's, and you guys know I like to drink wine. I'm not much of a beer drinker because it fills me up. So I asked the lady if I could have a glass of wine, and she looked at me funny because, one, we're in, Bainbridge, Georgia, and two, it's surrounded by a bunch of bass fishermen. So she said, "Well, I don't really know much about wine." I said, "Well, bring me something red." So she bring me the red wine. Well, the next night we go over there and I asked for a Cabernet, and it came out, it was all white. And I said, "Well, that's not a Cabernet." And she goes, "Yeah, it is." I said, "No, ma'am, I think that's a Chardonnay. A Chardonnay is white and Cabernet is red." And she goes, "No, I think that may be just a different type of Cabernet you got there." There's a lady behind her at the bar who's just laughing her butt off, thinking, she goes, "Honey, what's wrong over there? She brought you the wrong kind of wine?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. She's telling me that this here white wine is a red wine." It's white. And so she, "Oh, baby, don't worry about it. We get you all fixed up." So we had a good time and laughed. But the fishing, the fishing was tough. The first day we were there, it rained. We were in 45-degree weather. We were wet. We were cold. We stuck it out. It was a scouting day. Didn't get a bite. Second day was the tournament day. Was that Saturday. I actually caught a bass. I caught 2 bass, which I was, one of them was legal. So I was pretty pumped about that. But, you go out, you fish hard all day, and it's a grind, and you're fishing all these different areas, and it's cold. It's tough. And Jonathan skunked that day, too. But we had, we're using the Tourney X App Pro, which is we'll probably end up using for Fall and Tide. And there's a live leaderboard on there, which is just awesome. In some ways it's not, because legal launch time or legal line in time was 7:30. At 7:31, someone was putting a fish on there. They already had like 15 inches. I'm like, I'm still pedaling. This girl's already got a bass on there, right? 7:40, the leader puts on a bass, and Jonathan's telling me, "You gotta see this guy. It kept updating and updating and updating. This guy in first place, within 1 hour, he had 101 inches of bass by 8:30. I hadn't even had a bite yet, and he's already 101 inches. And I'm thinking, I wasn't expecting to win or anything, but I mean, could it be competitive? Not at all. I mean, so 101 inches, and everybody was playing catch up the rest of the day. So we actually had, I think Chuck actually finished in the top 10 that day.
15?
Chuck Bahan was in the top 10 after day one. He didn't do well at the beginning. He said he grinded it out, and he got to an area towards the end of the day, maybe the last hour, and he says, all of a sudden, I'm hitting him on, I think he was using a lipless crankbait, I think is what he said. And he was in 10 foot of water, and they were hitting. And just boom, 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 boom. He had 3 or 4 fish just like that. Boom, he's in the top 10. So, I mean, we had another guy from Louisiana that's, I think the Band Bass and Crack Club, that was in the top 5.
Yeah, he was crushing it. I was following the progress.
So we were representing at that point. We had 2 guys from Louisiana, really out of only 6 of us there, that were in the top 10. The second day was wild. we weren't really expecting to compete because we skunked day one, or I had one fish, Jonathan didn't have any. I think Ian may have had one or two fish that first day. There's no way at that point you're going to finish in the top 10 because you just don't have enough inches to be able to catch up to these guys. So the leader, again, wham, 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 wham. He's got his 5 fish the second day, but they were much smaller than they were the first day. The first day he had almost a 20-inch average. The second day he's averaging probably 15, 16 inches. A little bit later, I'm looking at the scoreboard because at this point I'm just kind of curious, Second place is creeping up. This guy that was fishing second place is creeping up. He was 20 inches behind, and I think he had his 5 fish already. But he can still fish for the day. Next time I looked, he was 10 inches behind. He still had his 5 fish, but he's upgrading them. And then it cut off. Well, later on, we're turning it on, we're tuning in, and he caught the first place guy and beat him by 1 inch. It was literally, I forget what the total was, like 181 to 180 or something like that.
It was nuts.
But he was 20 inches behind with 5 fish, and he was able to make up those 20 inches and upgrade his fish. And I think he had to upgrade with an average of, it may have been 18 or 19 inches he had to upgrade in order to catch the guy he did. I was like, this is, what a story. It almost makes you wish had you been on one of those camera boats, they do the big bass tournaments, and seeing it happen in live. That would have been just an awesome comeback.
What was his payout?
$7 grand. $7 grand. It was an awesome. I think $7
Wow.
grand for $3 grand for second, and maybe $1,500 for third. Something like that. Now, mind you, the entry fee is $235. It's a hefty entry fee.
I think they paid 13 spots out.
I think they did, but after you got past third, it was pretty low payouts because most of the payouts went up front. When you take some, for example, Minimalist, ours is a $30 entry, and the first place I think got paid out $900, something like that. So it really depends. We don't want to put an entry fee in our tournaments like that because it would really have an effect of not allowing a lot of people to fish the tournament. A lot of us are out there for fun. And when you have a tournament like that, you're fishing against professional anglers. Let's be honest. These guys, some of these guys, this is all they do is bass fish, and bass fish tournaments, and that's it. Still, it was a great experience. I know Ian kept fishing, and he ended up catching a few more fish. Chuck, unfortunately, did not finish the top 10, but he was a top 20 finish. I think he was 2 or 3 spots out the money, which was, to go down there and fish an area you've never fished
incredible.
Before, and to be that close. Yeah, it really was. It was an incredible finish.
Do you remember what the kind of kayaks the top 3 had?
I don't, but I suspect they were probably all Hobies.
I saw some paddle kayaks out there. I think the second place was a paddle, I think.
I'll tell you what, that lake was not kind to the Hobies. I'll be honest with you, it was not kind. When I was coming in the first day of scouting, 3 reports. One guy broke a mast. One guy broke the casing on his 360 mast, and somebody else, I think, broke something, bent a rod or something like that. It was wild. There's these stumps, and they're everywhere. I literally got my kayak stuck twice. This has never happened to me before. You're cruising along. I learned the lesson was go slow. Just go slow. Everything will be fine. So I'm going slow, and all of a sudden, you like this. You're in your kayak, and it just is on its side. I'm like, what's going on? I'm looking, and I'm rocking it. I'm like, what's going on? I'm stuck on a stump, this little stump, and you can't get off of it. You're rocking and you're standing, you try to put your paddle in your kayak to push you off, and I finally got it out the water after 3 days, and it was worse for the wear. The bottom of my kayak got all scrapped up.
Oof.
Yeah, I know, Tyler, you would have been. I know how you baby your kayak and wipe it with baby wipes after each use, but it would have been tough for you. Seeing, as slow as you go and as careful as you are, there were just so many stumps.
I saw somebody posted on Facebook they had to get somebody from a Hobie store to deliver them the mast, meet them halfway. It was just out of control.
I think the big bass, now they don't weigh them, they measure them. I know Brandon had tied for the big bass. I thought he had it was, 23, 24 inches maybe. It was a nice sized bass. But someone else had tied him, and the other person had a bigger bass, so they ended up taking the big bass award. So That's amazing. But look, we've got Hobie Bass Open's got another tournament coming up.
Quick.
It tends to be a little slow for fishing, around here, and that one's going to be in Lake Fork, Texas. Which, if you're not familiar with Lake Fork, it's basically in between Shreveport and Dallas, right along that area, about 7 hours from New Orleans, 6 from Baton Rouge. Dean, I know you're going to be out there. We're actually sharing a house out there with Tyler, Ian, and Jonathan is coming out there, and we've got this beautiful house rented, 2 stories on the lake, like 6 beds, 3 bedrooms. It's got a full bar. I'm pumped about just going to the house and staying there. So, what have you guys heard about Lake Fork?
I fished it last year.
Did you for a tournament or just
for the Hobie tournament?
Oh, nice.
I loved it. It was there's a lot of stumps. Me and Ian actually went. We fished it, and I think the tournament was in June last year.
Okay.
So we had our spots. I ended up going off on my own the second day, but there's some bass out there for sure.
Yeah.
I think my biggest for the tournament. I probably finished. I think it was 40th spot though. Out of I think they had 80 anglers or something like that. So, but my biggest one might have been 20 inches, 21 inches or something like that. So it wasn't, But
that'd be my personal best by far.
and I had never done a catch, photo, and release tournament. So that was another new one for me, trying to figure out how to get the fish, the mouth shut, and all that stuff.
It's not as hard. The program is really easy to use.
Yeah.
It's literally.
Last year was on
iAngler. Yeah. But
So-
the tourney, you take the picture, and I'll take my phone, take 3 or 4 pictures,
Right.
put the fish back in the water, and then you just hit submit catch, and you pick the picture you want, and you text it, and with the length that you measured at, and that's it. It's simple.
Right.
Well,
I had a couple I turned in that the mouth was just a little cracked. so I
Yeah,
got
they'll get you on that.
Yeah. So, but I've been practicing.
That's good. That's good. It's good to practice.
But I love
that.
it. It's a and this time of year they're gonna be spawning. But we'll get the pre-spawn, so hopefully we get some big bass.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys. I don't know. We talked about this, but Christine Fisher, somebody we've talked about on the show before. She fishes for bass. She was down. Did we ever figure out she was in Florida?
I know Florida.
Yeah, she was in Florida.
Mentioned
Yeah.
where in Florida.
She had a monster day
Huge.
yesterday. Huge. What did she say her 5-fish stringer was? Or she was.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Something crazy. 40
It was-
plus, I think.
Yeah, she had like a 26 or 27-inch bass with
Yeah.
a belly on it like that. It was massive. We're looking. I can't wait to go fish Lake Fork. Again, it's new water for me. And Tyler and I got to go fish Gunnersville last year for the native tournament. That was beautiful, and that was a whole different type of fishing with the lily pads and the frogs and the grass lines. And then we had this one in Seminole, which was really different. And I understand Lake Fork's gonna be different. So, just to get out there and fish these different areas and to fish for new species is pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys down there. So, going on though, we do have a tournament coming up, Trout Challenge in March, and that's going to be Golden Medal or Basons are the 2 places that you're allowed to fish with the weigh-in at Golden Medal. We're certainly going to be talking about that a little bit more in our next episode. But I know we've got a lot of guys that have been scouting. From what I hear, the last 3 weekends,
Madness.
crazy it seems, it's been madness down there, right, Ben? You've been down there.
I thought there was like an Outcast tournament going on that I didn't know about.
Yeah. So tell us about some of your trips down there, Dean. Probably don't want to hear from you because I know you didn't do so well. I think.
No, I
you told
didn't.
me. Yeah.
You don't want to talk to me about it.
So Ben, tell us about your trips. You've been a couple of times the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I've been a couple times, I guess the last 2 weeks, and 2 weeks ago the water was really similar to what it was at Minimalist. It was really clean, and it was low, but and the bite was about the same. Now this last week, I heard that they turned the pumps on, and the water was definitely not as clean. It wasn't horrible, but it was like a stain color. The water was about the same height, but the water temperature was a lot better. So I felt like the fish were definitely biting better, and the reds were not spooky. It was awesome. It was like the first time since October that the reds were not spooky for me. So that definitely good signs to come. I can't wait for spring fishing.
Yeah. Now, this tournament's going to be a 10 trout, 1 flounder stringer. How'd you do with the trout out there? Were you able to get on any?
Yeah, I got on a lot of schoolers. Nothing big, but just being able to catch, 10 or 15, and having 5 or 6 throwbacks is a lot better than it has been. So, I don't know. Some people do really good in the winter, but I know I caught a few on popping corks, which was kind of new, for recent. The temperature and everything, and then I used a lot of softening, the Paul Brown. That worked very well. So I think it's going to pick up. It just depends on what the weather does. I think it's going to get cold again. So. But by Trout Challenge, it should be warm.
I'll be honest with you. I'm hoping the trout are still there. I mean, they're normally there in March. March is one of the best times of the year, in my opinion, to fish Golden Meadow. Before they start, because it's going to be transitioning, before they start transitioning down towards Grand Isle and Leeville and stuff. But I've talked to a bunch of people that have been fishing Basons and Golden Meadow and been doing really well with the trout and catching some nice trout. I talked to someone today, and I won't say if he was fishing Basons or Golden Meadow, but he was fishing one of the two areas. He sent me a picture of a 20-inch trout he caught, and he tells me, and he swears, and I believe this guy, that he lost the biggest trout of his life. And he said, I've caught 25 and I've caught a 26-inch trout before. This one was bigger. And he was heartbroken. And I've been giving shit about it all day. But he was heartbroken at losing this trout. And that's tough. I've lost one that I thought was a redfish, and he was massive. Got him to the kayak and I lost him. I never really got a good idea how long he is. I just know it's probably the biggest trout I ever caught. And he said they were all top water. He fished for 3 hours and just nailed them. So the reports are coming out, and there's definitely, if you can find the right day, there are definitely trout in Basons and Golden Meadow. Right now, we're dealing with the wind. I was looking at maybe Thursday or Friday, but it looks like those days are going to be unfishable. Sunday may be a possibility. And look, we're still 4 or 5 weeks out. So as long as this weather will stay and those trout will stay in there, it's going to be an epic trout challenge, I think. I think we've got, Tyler, from what you told me, we've got already 25 people sign up for the tournament, and we're 5 weeks out. These tournaments, normally we don't see people signing up until like the week before the week of. Minimalist is an exception because we cap the participants. We don't do that for Trout Challenge. I think, again, this is going to be an awesome tournament. I think we'll have 75, 80 people fishing it. Again, you're on level playing ground. You can fish Basons or Golden Meadow. March, it's real easy. Throw a topwater, throw a plastic under a cork. You're gonna catch fish on one of those two baits. If you don't know anything about trout fishing, you can literally throw a plastic under a cork, a voodoo or whatever you like, matrix or whatever, and you're gonna catch fish. Chances are. The flounder is gonna be interesting. I think we're gonna have a few flounders weighed in. That's a good time of the year for flounder. Basons and Golden Meadow both hold flounder. If I had to guess, if we have 75 people fishing, 80, I bet we get 5 to 10 flounder weighed in at least. It's
warm enough this winter. They could come in quick.
Oh yeah. And look, it's the total weight, so you don't have to catch a flounder to win. If your 10 trout are bigger than someone who's got 10 trout and a flounder, you're going to win. But it's kind of that extra bonus, and maybe even kind of, you get your 10 trout early, you can kind of mess around the rest of the day, maybe bump along the bottom, doing a little scouting for Paddlepalooza coming up in April to try to get that. So that's something, that everybody should kind of keep in mind. Use this as an opportunity to also scout for Paddlepalooza. With everything going on, we keep forgetting about Paddlepalooza is going to be here in 2 months. 2 months, that's going to be awesome. That's one of my favorite tournaments of the year. Just just getting together for 3 days with everybody and eating and drinking and fishing. And I mean, what a great time that tournament is. I can't wait for it. Now, look, one of our sponsors, Pack and Paddle, on March 6th is having their event called Beer and Gear. We are actually going to have John Williams on with Pack and Paddle probably on our next episode to talk a little bit more about Beer and Gear. But I told him I'd give a shout out about tonight, so if people are interested, they can make plans to go down there. Tyler, I know you've been to Beer and Gear before. Ben, have you been there yet?
No, this is the first I've heard about it.
Dean, have you been to Beer and Gear?
Oh,
Tyler, why don't you tell us a little bit? I know Ben would love to go because he likes beer.
Yes.
And he it's just he likes sampling the different kinds of beers. Tell us a little bit about what the event is, Tyler, a Beer and Gear at Pack and Paddle, and what people can expect if they go there.
Y'all are missing out if y'all haven't been before, but this is actually my 4th year in a row to.
Oh wow!
It's really neat. The kayak vendors, most of the vendors that they deal with in the store, they come in from all over the country really and set up booths. They're all required to bring, I think, 3 cases of beer with them from wherever they're coming from, and so. You get to show up. It doesn't cost anything to get in. Check your ID, give you a wristband, and you can walk around, check out the products. Some of them are selling products for discount. Do some shopping and try some free beers. And it's a real good time hanging out with everybody. Usually at the end of the night, they'll do some raffles. I think everybody that comes in will get a free raffle ticket. And the last couple of years, they've given away, I think, a solo skip. Wow. An Outback, I think Francis Tran won an Outback last year.
Wow.
We're doing a kayak again this year, but you can literally show up for free, drink beer for free, and possibly go home with a brand new boat, all while hanging out. I mean, I guarantee you they have at least, I would say, 200 or 300 people at home. I mean, it's a pretty. It's been around a while. It's a pretty well established event, and I mean it's a lot of fun. And then on Saturday morning, the following morning afterwards, they have a big demo day out at the I forget the name they have lakes.
Lake Martin or something?
No, not Lake Martin. I can't remember the name of it, but a lot of the same guys that were at the Beer and Gear from the night before will come and set up the booth and bring out the 3 kayaks. And you'll have reps from all the companies out there showing you how each one works. It's a real cool opportunity, especially for people who are just getting bored to try out the different kayaks. You'll have a lot of opportunity to talk with some knowledgeable people that will teach you all about it.
And you're going to run into a lot of people out there, I would assume. I mean, just everybody in the kayak community, a lot of people in the Baton Rouge, Lafayette area heading out there just to hang out, drink beer, and check out the new things out there. That sounds like a really good time. I think you actually got a hotel room last time you were there, right?
The last 2 years I've had a hotel, yeah. But the last 2 years I worked the native booth, so I stayed the night and worked the demo day the next morning.
Oh,
okay.
Cool.
Are you working the native booth again this year?
Yes.
Oh, okay. We'll have some representation there. Awesome. Ben, what else we missing? Did we cover everything?
I think so. The next next episode, probably March 3rd ish.
Yeah, I think the next episode's gonna be March 3rd. It would normally be 2 weeks, but that's Mardi Gras Day. And I'll be honest, I don't think there's going to be a lot of people sitting around wanting to watch us on Mardi Gras Day. And also probably moving into the new studios that week. So I'm hoping to have everything set up for the following week, March 3rd. And we're going to be obviously talking a little bit more about Trout Challenge coming up. And we're going to have John Williams on talking about Beer and Gear. We'll get a recap of Lake Fork. Who knows? Maybe if Dean can pull out another incredible finish over there and come home with a check. We can talk to him about, what happened with that. I think there's a group of us going though. I mean,
it's a big group. I saw.
It's me, Tyler, Dean, Ian, Jonathan Carter.
Isn't Terry Pham going?
Terry Pham's going. He's going to bring a popping cork and he's going to show everybody how it's done with the poppers. So really, he said he puts a chatterbait under a popping cork and it works. Look, I don't know. I mean, he won Falling Tide and he finished second at championships. Who am I to question his tactics, right? Francis is going to go. Now, Francis is the guy that just it would not surprise me if he finishes in the top 10, because that's just what Francis does. He doesn't win anything like that, but he'll finish in the top 10. You know, just like, how did that happen? You know, so Francis, you just gotta be careful with that guy. Chuck, I think, is going as well. Aaron Clay's going. So we got, I don't know, like 9 of us from Louisiana or from Bayou Coast going down there representing. Hell, I mean, it could be 10% of the field if they get 90, 100 people over there. We're gonna have 10% of us. You know,
I like those odds.
In the bottom 10%. So I don't know. I'm gonna be leaning heavily on Dean's bass fishing abilities, and and Ian, I'm gonna be copying what Jonathan's putting on his rods that night because we're all staying together. And you know, I'm sure I'll go down to Puglia's and I'll buy some more freshwater baits just to sit in the tackle box and waste away while I'm bouncing a Cinco off the bottom. Because that's the tried and true method that Tyler taught me, that it seemed to only catch things on a Cinco. So, you know, hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit better with some of the jackhammer. We got to get jackhammer on as the club sponsor, Tyler. You know, and convince them that chatterbaits, the redfish and trout love chatterbaits. I know Jeff Penny says.
Jeff Penny, yeah,
he swears by them.
They're nice. They're really nice baits.
Yeah.
Saturday when we went, the guy I went with, he caught a 26-inch red on a chatterbait.
Really? Who was that? Who'd you go with?
His name's Mike Smith.
Okay.
He's not part of the club yet. I'm trying to get him in there. He just started kayaking probably in September.
If we could get, is it the jackhammer ones? I mean, they're like $15 a bait.
Yeah, they're.
Yeah.
That's like the Whopper Poppers.
The Whopper Poppers. And the Banjo Minnow is what
Yeah, baby.
So look, we went. Oh man, we've been going on for about an hour and 20 minutes now. So
a little late, but
we're gonna wrap it up tonight. But if you guys have any questions about Trout Challenge, you go on the site about Fallen Tide. You can look up and see what information we have now. That date has been set. It's in October. You know, if any of you other guys plan on going out to Lake Fork and want to fish the Hobie Bass Open, you know, certainly shoot us a text or something. I think we maybe all be getting together for dinner one night, barbecuing or something like that. We can certainly hang out, you know, and talk, you know, some bass fishing, etc. Tyler, again, man, I want to thank you for coming on and helping us get this thing started a year ago. It's been over a year now. It's just been an incredible journey the last year. Ben, I want to thank you for spending the time to learn this over the last couple of days, because without you two guys, I'd be sitting here talking to myself in a room. I don't know how to do these things. So it's just been, you know, I really appreciate all the effort you've given, all the other officers for everything they do. Dean, thanks again for coming on tonight. Again, congratulations on your win at Minimalist. It was a big accomplishment. You beat a lot of really good anglers out there.
That's a tough one.
It's a tough one. I'm sure you walked away with a nice payday that day. Was it about $900, wasn't it?
$850.
$850. So, you know, I think it was lobbying for $9, but Tyler said, no, let's get him $850. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think what we wanted to give a little bit more money to 7th place this year, kind of even things out. So $850 is a good payday for a $30 entry.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you're walking away with probably $10 of baits at least. You know, between that juke bait, $6, $7 bait, a couple of soft plastics, 4 or 5 jig heads. That's just not bad. I mean, you know, you need $20 really for an entry fee to get $10 of bait. So it's a really good deal.
And food.
And food. And food. And food.
That food was clutch.
Yeah, and I think we had some nice blacks this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that on your wall behind.
Could go right next to Frodo.
That's hanging up in the closet.
I'm still working on that one.
Is that hanging in your closet?
Yeah.
Behind the suit. Right back there behind the suit. There it is.
You should put it over the ring on Frodo's hand, the plaque.
Yeah.
I did.
We can give that away as prizes one day. We give away the one ring to like the first place winner at the
Championship ring like in high school.
The championship ring like in high school.
Oh, you're onto something now.
Yeah, that would be something. You know, or like the World Series bracelet. Like if you finish in the top 10 or something, you know, and finish the first in one tournament, you'll get like a bracelet or something you can wear. Yeah, it's a Redfish Rumble 2007 first place finish bracelet, you know. You know, you got to know Action Jack would wear it. I have no doubt in my mind, Action Jack. If he finished first, he'd be showing that bling, that bracelet and stuff. You know, I could just see him walking around with it. It'd be fun.
I like the belt for the championship.
Yeah, that is great, but no one ever wears it. Well, Brian can't wear it because he's so skinny, he keeps falling off of his waist. You know.
Well, I'll wear it if I win it.
So look, Brian texted me the other day. He said he'll wake up at least once. He'll wake up. He's done this 2 or 3 times now. He's walked outside and he's seen like at 2 in the morning. He'll get up to go get a glass of water. And Terry, because they're brothers, they live together. Terry's sitting there staring at it because he's got it on the like fireplace mantle, and Terry's just sitting there staring at it like that should have been me. That's my belt. And just like like I can't believe it because he actually says. Terry takes all the credit. He says, "Look, I put Brian on the fish. I'll never do that again. That's the second time I've done it. It's just not going to happen again." But he's looking at it, it's just ounces apart. I mean, ounces apart. Those bags were incredible. But
that was crazy.
That'd be tough to look at. I mean, if I had to sit there and my wife won it and sit there looking at it in her house every day, look at that stuff. Terry, I kind of know what you're going through. I think a little bit. At least it's in your house. My daughter keeps asking when I'm bringing it home because I'm had it made and it was at my house for about the first month before the first championship. It's never been back since. So we'll see what happens. But, well, look, guys, it was a pleasure having you on tonight. I mean, this has been one of our cleanest episodes, Tyler. I don't think we've had any.
Just the beginning.
New IT guy.
Yeah, it's the new guy with his. How many gigs you got on that computer? What kind of storage space?
60 gigs of RAM.
60 gigs of RAM and how much storage?
About 500 gig. Not too much storage. Not too much.
Oh, okay.
Just a lot of RAM. Memory.
This thing flies. You can send a man to the moon with your computer. Literally. So, well, guys, thanks a lot for joining us tonight. Eventually, this will get put up on the YouTube page, and it'll be transferred over to a podcast eventually. So
Apple,
if you missed part of it,
iTunes.
you want to catch it on the road. Ben, I'm sure, will be taking care of that in some of his free time. And we look forward to seeing you guys soon. I hope to be talking to you guys, and I hope to see you guys out at Trout Challenge. And Dean, I will see you probably next Wednesday or Thursday. Tyler, you too. We're gonna have a good time down at Lake Fork. So we'll probably be sending some pictures and posting some updates from there. So guys, good night. Have fun. Be safe on the water, and see you guys soon.
Thank you.
All right. See you later.